day 3 was the day that we went to the symphony. You woke up with a headache that morning, so we ended up taking a really slow morning. We had a late start.
Once we did get up, we went looking for a place to have lunch and found Kin no Gyoza Sakaba, the Golden Gyoza Bar. Delicious fried rice and the best gyoza I've had. No gyoza, no life indeed.
We stopped at the Pokemon Center in Shibuya that day, but because we were kind of pressed for time, we didn't look at it super thoroughly. We went right down to Pacifico Yokohama for the symphony.
The station we got off at, which was the station where we could have gotten our third stamp for the rail rally, was about a 15-minute walk away from the convention hall, which was a bit much in the heat, but we made it.
I mean, I think the really nice part was that we got to say hello to Birdkeeper Toby, who was there as well.
We planned to see Toby again a couple more times, but well, we'll get to that.
The show was streamed, so probably most people got to listen to it if they wanted to. But the first part was a piece from each of the countries, not counting Canada, that have hosted.
Apparently it just counts as American.
Yeah, it was grouped with all the American locations.
It wasn't only grouped, but the only announcement was for USA.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was
It's fair.
I guess Vancouver's really close to the border.
They picked 3 pieces: an American composer, a British composer, and a Japanese composer. That was for like part 1, and then part 2 they did various medleys from the Pokemon games. I did not recognize the American piece that they picked, and even right now I could tell you absolutely nothing about it. It was perfectly nondescript. For the British piece, they picked Pomp and Circumstance, the graduation music. And like,
Definitely.
iconic, sure,
Everyone knows it.
memorable. And then the Japanese track, that was really nice. Well, I guess it's because it wasn't just European classical music.
Yeah.
It had some excitement to it too. Like it had a more upbeat sort of melody.
And I do feel that like the orchestra, like themselves, Japanese piece, they actually enjoyed. Like you could see the conductor like
There's
dancing.
more like passion to it.
Yeah, there was a lot more excitement just from like what I could see from like the conductor.
Yeah, I want to look up that track later. That was kind of it, right? Like we walked around Yokohama a bit for that day, but then we just kind of came back to Shibuya and went back to the Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
But we also stopped at the Sanrio store. Oh yeah, I got Hello Kitty merch.
Yeah.
And some delicious bubble tea in that.
Yes.
store too.
Yeah, the convention center is close to a bunch of malls, and there's this one mall that has all of these like
Cutesy stores.
cutesy, like a Disney store, a Peanuts store, a Sanrio store, all like side by side, basically.
Yeah.
So
It was great.
yeah, but that ended up being kind of a slower day, even though we were still exhausted at the end.
Yeah. Thank goodness too for that mall because we found out it has a station in the bottom.
It was much closer to the venue, much more convenient, and it even had a small pop-up Pokemon Center at the station, but no stamps.
Okay, a very important question for the comment section. Tatsugiri, I'm seeing the merch for it everywhere. Like, and it's also like one of the stamps for the rally. Like, is Tatsugiri actually popular, or are they just trying to make it happen? I must know.
That's a very new fetch. It's at least cute though, I'm glad.
Like to me, it's fine. We'll see what the comments say.
They're even doing a cross promotion with an actual sushi restaurant. And the line was filled up for the rest of the night, starting at least at 8 p.m. For a restaurant that closes at 11 p.m.
So closing at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
So they were like, we're at capacity. And I was like, now? Oh my gosh.
And then day 4 was today, where we went to
See cats.
I I did not buy this shirt today, but I wanted to make sure that I would wear my Nya or Never Mount Fuji cat t-shirt today. It started out like not looking super promising. From the forecast, it seemed like there were going to be some clouds. It was a clear day, but not totally clear, just some kind of scattered clouds. But it looked like Mount Fuji itself was going to be covered.
We also faced a lot of traffic.
We just happened to be going to Mount Fuji at the start of a holiday.
Mountain Day, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mountain Day specifically, but I got the impression that it's like a multi-day thing, right? So it was like first day of this holiday, so a lot of people driving out and a lot of people driving back. So between the way there and the way back, we probably wasted about an hour or so that we could have spent doing things.
Yeah. At least, yeah.
At least 1 hour, yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
At least the weather worked out.
As we change the direction that we're approaching the mountain from, turns out the clouds were just in front of Mount Fuji, and from a different angle, they were kind of on the side and a little bit below. And so we got some fantastic views.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't go to the mountain itself. We went to a bunch of places that had views of Mount Fuji. And we did all of this on a tour that we booked on TripAdvisor. That was just a guy, his name was Wafi from Bangladesh, who was just driving us around, taking us to these spots and serving as a bit of a tour guide.
Cool guy.
I think there would have been a lot more hesitation or meandering without that. And we went to a lot of really wonderful spots that might not have otherwise gotten checked out.
Yeah. I don't remember the names of all of the places that we went to. I have them on my phone because I have the itinerary, but my phone is what's recording this, so...
Our first stop was Oshino Hakkai, 8 springs and a traditional village at Oshino.
That is just like a tourist destination, but it was really nice. It had lots of street food. It had...
Absolutely wonderful street food.
Yeah. It had
Definitely get the fish.
Yes, get the fish.
We started off strong. It was the best part. It was all good, but it was definitely the first part was the best part.
Yeah.
It had peaches. It had this museum for agricultural practices, things like that. We went into the museum, but we didn't look so much at the items that were on display because the museum had these little huts basically that had the stuff, but it was also on just this beautiful garden with a huge pond and multiple smaller ponds from there as well. We went there mostly for the views and the walking and the photos of Mount Fuji and things like that.
But also just we would have had to take our shoes off for every single building.
Yeah, and we were not prepared for that.
Yeah, and it was just I don't want to negotiate with my sneakers 3 times.
And after all that walk, I don't want to negotiate with my back. Bending and coming back up and bending and coming back up.
So
Pretty fish.
Exactly, yeah. And it really was. It was truly beautiful. And you could see inside. These they had the doors open, or just no doors at all. And you could see a functional water mill.
Yeah.
And
it was I'm sure I'd learned at some point how a water mill works, but it's a very different thing to you have the water wheel turning and you can literally watch it as it pushes the wood up and then drops it. And it's that's how you turn rotational motion into an up and down pounding motion.
Stop number 2 was the Fujiyoshida Sengen Shrine.
Because we faced a lot of traffic, we didn't have as much time to explore everywhere that we wanted to. So this first shrine that we went to was lovely and super peaceful looking and had these trees that are over 1,000 years old. One of them is even reinforced with concrete to make sure that it continues standing. At this shrine is also the gate to Mount Fuji, so it's one of those traditional Japanese gates that if you're going to hike the mountain, there's multiple trails to go up the mountain, but all of them go through that one gate to begin with, and then you take different routes up. So
very pretty.
yeah, but unfortunately we had to go through it kind of quickly
The third stop was Lake Kawaguchi.
The main thing that we did there at the lake was take a speedboat ride. That was
Really fun.
it was highly recommended.
That was another thing where I was like, I don't think I would have ever done that on my own, but having the tour guide say like, hey, you should probably try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was highly recommended by the tour guide, and it was fantastic.
And the second half, they had us actually stand and hold on to guardrails. So it was a lot of fun, but yeah.
It was very thrilling. I had to chicken out and sit down partway through just because it was too much fun.
It was very fast, and so jumping on the waves.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, it was very fun though, even though I was very scared.
We also got to stop in the middle of the lake for a photo chance with Mount Fuji itself in the background.
Yes.
And that was really pretty. It's a very clear view too.
But I'm glad I was able to find a way to like record a long portion of the ride without having to like actually be looking at the screen. I don't want to experience things through taking photos and through taking video.
Yeah.
So like I've taken relatively little video because I just want to be like experiencing things, but I managed to find a way to just like hold my phone in a way that felt comfortable, that I didn't feel like I was gonna drop it or have like the wind blow my JR pass out of it.
No, that was a good spot. I was like, I'm not touching my phone. It's gonna go away. It was a very fast boat.
Yeah. But it was recording, so I could just like look around and just like point my phone and then not have to worry about actually looking at it. So
They did have Pikachu cushions though.
They did, just by coincidence.
yeah, it was a yellow boat.
Yeah.
And the cushions were Pikachu. I took a photo of that.
It's also why I'm bright pink. This is the one time I put away my umbrella. Don't do that.
We had cheesecake. Yeah, and then we went to Oishi Park, which was just kind of around a bend of the same, still on the same lake, but just in a different part of the shore. Like just a nice little garden on the shore. There was a little monument made from all the different kinds of volcanic rock that have been found at Mount Fuji.
And there's like a whole field of lavender. It smells very good.
It smells so good.
Yeah, it's like the breeze there was just like, am I taking a bath?
The lavenders were definitely a little past their prime in terms of vibrance, but it was still very pretty and still very fragrant.
And delicious soft serve ice cream.
Oh gosh, yeah. Like had so many wonderful flavors like blueberry and rose and lavender and
The fifth and final stop on our Mount Fuji tour was Arakurayama Sengen Shrine, which has 398 steps from the entrance to the shrine itself.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like it's 400 steps. It's tiring, but when you're at the bottom and you're looking at this really long staircase and you see the marker that says 398 steps, you're like, oh god, this is gonna be awful. And then you get to the top and you see the shrine and you're like, wait, we're already here.
It did help that today the humidity was not as intense as it had been.
Yes.
definitely.
I think I would have died.
There were actually a few more steps to get up to the actual observation deck, which is like behind the shrine, so that you can get a view of the shrine with Mount Fuji in the background. I think there are at least 3 different observation decks. There's like a main one that is recently constructed looking, and it has extra steps just so people can be taking you can have multiple people taking photos at the same time without everyone being in each other's way. But then we went up a little bit extra and there was a much simpler area and you couldn't actually see the shrine from there, but it was a higher elevation and you could see the mountain.
I have no idea if this will work. I have to figure out which lens is the right one. This alignment thing is difficult. I got the right lens. Can I just make fine adjustments? No, hold it. Come on, focus. Focus. Can you tap on the screen for me? There you go.
Just because we were pressed for time, we didn't go further, but there was more, so there must have been at least one more location to visit.
So yeah, we had to get going, and I was also tired.
The only thing that kind of made today not as nice as it could have been was the fact that there was so much transit, so much traffic, and so we weren't able to spend as much time.
And we got there on a good day, so.
Yeah, apparently, like, actually being able to see the peak of Mount Fuji is something that only happens about 80 times a year because it's so often covered by clouds. And today was one of those days.
Go us.
Yes. You even had the ring of clouds below the mountain.
The classic look of mountain, cloud, mountain peak. After we got back, we made a not very quick trip to Yokohama because Yokohama is rather far from here. We picked Shibuya as kind of a central location to be able to go to both Tokyo and Yokohama, but going to Yokohama is kind of far, but we went there for good reason. We said hello to Adi Subramanian, who was competing today and unfortunately was knocked out, but he offered us one of his complimentary spectator passes.
Thank you.
And we also said hello to The Last Shaman, who unfortunately Toby was feeling sick today, so we didn't get to see him again. But The Last Shaman and Toby offered us their spectator passes. So even though we came all the way to Japan with no spectator passes and kind of feeling like we planned our trip around this event that we can't go to, and we wouldn't be going to Japan at this time of year if not for this event. Turns out we are going to this event.
Yay!
Toby and Phoebe, The Last Shaman, are just they attended today, but tomorrow they're going somewhere else. So these passes will not be used. Or would not be used because we will use them. Looking forward to go check out the venue tomorrow. We're going to see if we can get into the Pokemon Center there as well, and we'll see how it goes with going to the SSN ship, the trainer cruise. And definitely planning on spending a lot more of Sunday at the venue, watching finals and closing ceremony, presumably, things like that. So,
Very excited.
very excited.